and welcome to another live video. However, this one is going to be the best one yet because we're going to try something new, groundbreaking technology. We have a special guest joining us today. Now, I don't want to ruin the surprise, so we're just waiting for him or her to turn up. But whilst I've got you and we're waiting for them to turn up, I just want to remind you that we've got 25% off our AAT courses at the moment using our discount code PR25. So you get 25% off all our online AAT courses. Discount ends Friday, so don't miss out on that. We've got interest-free installments as well. Now, our special guest is here. Now, our special guest needs no introduction. He's giving the giveaway already. Was shortlisted for AAT Tutor of the Year. He is a great guy. He's my brother from another mother. He needs no introduction. Joining us today is our special guest, Phil Toomer. What we're going to talk about today is the AAT CBA pass rates that came out yesterday, and the chief examiner's report. So here we are. Here we are with our special guest, Phil Toomer.
Hello.
How are you doing, Phil? Good to see you again. How's things?
I'm good.
Oh, so Phil's here, and what we're going to do is have a chat amongst ourselves because we do that anyway. But we thought you'd join into our usual day-to-day banter. So what we're going to do is talk about, hi Paula, the AAT CBA results that came out yesterday. Now, I think they're really, really interesting. If you don't think AAT pass rates are interesting, you need to have a long, hard look at the direction your life is going, because AAT pass rates really are interesting. But we want to talk about the sort of trends and reasoning behind them. Hi, Nicola. Right. So where should we start, Phil? Where do you want to start with?
Well, how about level 2? Start with the basics.
Level 2, it's good. I mean, we've got level 2 results. It's not the most exciting level to start with, is it? There's not much happened, really. The pass rate overall, what we're going to do is compare December 18, the year to December 18, to the year ended June 19. So overall, it's fallen from 84.9% pass rate for the level to 83.3. It's not all that exciting. But there is one unit that stands out, isn't there, Phil?
Because how about bookkeeping controls, one of the bookkeeping units?
Yeah, that's the only one that doesn't have a pass rate in the 80s. The pass rate for that is really quite low for level 2.
It's quite low.
71.3%, yeah. And there's one standout thing that costs a lot of people that exam, doesn't it?
Yeah, so Task 8, people tend to struggle with Task 8, which is all about the journals. Quite often we've looked into this, and about 50% of students do well on this, so it's something that can definitely be improved on, definitely.
Yeah, and what it is bookkeeping transactions. You just learn almost by rote what you need to do. So like you're posting from the main ledger to the sales ledger, you just debit sales ledger control, credit sales, credit VAT, and that's what you do. I mean, obviously it'd be nice if you knew what you're doing, but you can learn it. Whereas journals are a bit more, something's happened, something's gone wrong, we need to correct it, and there's a bit more thinking on your feet, and students tend not to like that quite so much, do they?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it's backwards working, so you'll get an error and it'll have to be taken out, and then the correct error will need to be posted. And a lot of students get muddled, and they'll do the correct thing in the wrong way or the wrong thing in the opposite way. So yeah, it's easy to get muddled on that.
Yeah,
So
I mean, my sort of way I attempt one of them is you've got to get clear in your head what was posted, the original error. Then you need to get clear in your head what should have been posted, and the difference in theory is your journal that you need to enter. But other than that, there's not a great deal to say at level 2. I mean, ELCO's dropped a little bit, but the pass rate's still 89%. Foundation Synoptic, mid-80s.
Yeah, so even though it's still dropped, it's still in the high 80s, so it's still a good pass rate to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, and then what I want to clarify, these are AAT's pass rates, nationally, that from colleges, DL providers, private providers. They're not our pass rates. I'm a bit concerned, if our pass rates are getting low at 71% at level 2, or foundation level, you should say. And then UACS has risen over the last 18 months or so. It used to be an issue with people not uploading evidence, but I think everyone's pretty clued up on that now, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we've put a lot of work into UACS, and we've changed all our videos, upgraded materials, and We do a lot of interaction with the students where we get them to send as many mocks in as possible, which I think is key to passing UACs and getting
Yeah,
as
it
much
is.
practice as possible.
Yeah, I mean, UX is one where people don't fail because they get things wrong. They fail because they can't prove they got it right with the reports.
Yeah,
If you
so
get the reports right,
you can have all the data entry 100% correct, but if you don't produce the reports in the correct way, you're going to get 0 marks, even though you've done everything properly. So it's all on practicing these reports and getting them sent in.
yeah. Anyway, let's move on because level 2 is boring. Level 3. What stands out for you at level 3, Phil?
For level 3, it's got to be advanced bookkeeping. Advanced bookkeeping, just people struggle with it because it's usually the first unit at level 3, and it's a very big unit, so people underestimate what's going on. And I think a key area in advanced bookkeeping is accruals and prepayments.
Yeah, it's one that people do struggle with, and it's not just the double entry of entering accrual, it's also reversing accrual at the beginning of the that throws a lot of people out. And the other one students really don't like is deferred income or accrued income, because it's the other way around, and that's a nasty one.
Yeah, so it could be one side for expenses, one side for income, one side if it's prepayment, one side if it's accrual, reverse it, flip it if it's reversed as well. And it's backwards and forwards all the time. It's very easy to get yourself muddled up and turned around. So
Yeah.
it does take practice.
Yeah. Other than task 3, it's task 4 that causes a fair few issues as well, with the corrected journals again. Again, it's the same thing. Students don't like corrected journals. It is hard, and it's more. You've also got journals there with regards to accounting adjustments, bad debts. What's that the issue students always have with bad debts in the journal?
Yeah, so you've got the allowance for debt, and what people tend to get muddled up with is what is the expense, what is the what goes on the statement of financial position. So they get that muddled up, and they've got what they need to understand is that it's the adjustment that's the expense. So anything that's increasing or decreasing, that's going to affect your profit and loss for the current year. So that's the expense, and
Yeah.
people get that turned around all the time.
Yeah. Now moving down, financial accounts sole trade partners, 77%. Costings probably got, anyway, it does have the highest one, 84.4. There's not much to say there. The one that I'd looked through, the latest chief examiner's report that also came out yesterday, was indirect tax. Now, indirect tax is quite a small unit. It's only 10% of the overall grade. Most students have been doing that in a month, around what do you think, Phil?
Yeah, it's very short, but I think what people need to do with that one is just get comfortable with the reference material. If you know how it works and you've been using it while you're doing the practice questions, then you're going to be able to use it properly in the exam. What you don't want to be doing is never see it before, and then in the exam, you're spending time searching through it, trying to find what you need. Use the reference material straight away. Use it when you're answering your questions, when you're practicing your mocks. You just get comfortable with it.
Yeah, it's very unlike all the other units where you're just going in and all you've got is your knowledge in your head. You've got loads of reference material there for a reason, so you really want to make sure that you use it. And then the last one that sticks out, advanced synoptic, always had a bit of a nasty reputation, but over the last few years, the pass rate has risen, but it's still not great. It's still looking at 61.6%. Up to December, it's 61.1, so not a great deal of movement there.
So yeah, I think 1.3 throws people out on the ethics side, because that's the big written task, and people panic because no one likes the written questions. So yeah, so I think you just need to practice it, keep going over, and make sure you answer every single part of the question. So if they're asking you 2 different things, make sure you answer both things and not just one part. Just and again, it's down to practice. You need to be able to comfortably write.
Yeah, and it's also about mock exams. There's a massive link between doing the mock exams, getting them out by a tutor, and working on the feedback. So, for example, if it says what's the principle under threat, and you talk about, I don't know, confidentiality is the principle, and you don't mention the threat, you're throwing away a relatively easy mark because you clearly know that it's under threat, but you just need to almost name drop it, every threat to tick that mark that is going to be in the mark scheme. And then, so 1.1 and 1.2 ethics stuff, seems to have really well. 1.3, not so good. Spreadsheets. What are your thoughts on spreadsheets, Phil?
Task 2.2, people just run out of time. And I think that because quite often they might spend time on task 2.1 and they spend more time than they should. And then they've got no time left at all for 2.2. So I think time management is key. You need to be comfortable with these spreadsheets. You need to be practicing it all the time. So when you ask certain stuff in different questions, you're still applying the same kind of knowledge. So you're still applying your formulas, and it's practice on with your Excel, but try and get that time down so like you're comfortable with certain formulas and things.
Yeah. I mean, Nicola's made a very good comment about she thought she got rid of ethics after level 3, but no, ethics are in pretty much every single paper at level 4 now. And to be honest, if you're an accountant, you will never, ever be rid of ethics. If you go to the naughty pages in the AAT magazine, which is the first page I go to in case you see someone you know, which I've seen, and everyone there is in trouble. Well, not everyone, 99% people are in trouble for practicing without a license and not having money laundering regulations. It's really, really important stuff. The ethics that we teach you at AAT keeps you out of prison. It's not the most exciting thing, but it's better than being in prison. Not, I speak from experience, I imagine. Right, moving on. Level 4. Level 4 is where all the fun is, isn't there, Phil? Budgeting's not moved. 76% it was. 75.9 it is now. Budgeting's never been all that fun. Decision control, that's a killer, isn't it?
Yeah, this is particularly low. This is down to 52.8% national. And I think people underestimate it because they might do well with budgeting, and it's a similar unit, so you're building on kind of things. But yeah, people just underestimate what's involved because budgeting, you'll be taught how to calculate a variance, and then decision and control, you asked about variances again, and people think, oh, I'll just show how to calculate it. But you need to be able to link it to other variances. You need to be able to say what effect this variance has on the business. And you need to be more in depth than budgeting. And people treat it the same. So I think people just underestimate this unit.
Yeah. And the other thing you need to bear in mind is AAT have task 3 is either a marginal costing versus absorption costing or is calculation of variances. So if you get a task 3 question on variances, AAT know if you can calculate a variance or not, and they've got a computer to mark that, which is really, really cheap. They're paying a person to mark a question on variances, so they're not interested in whether you can calculate variances or not. That's not what we're getting at. We're getting at, you know what's caused them, what effect does it have, real world stuff that they can't use a computer to mark. Now, the other thing that also, if you look at the Chief Examiner's report, Task 5 has a 20% pass rate. Task 8 has a 30% pass rate. They are the 2 written ones. It's not a coincidence that they're the 2 that students really, really struggle with. So yeah, let's get loads of practice. What are your tips for written questions generally, Phil?
I think people misread the questions. They'll say for the key performance indicators, they'll be asked a certain question and they'll misread it, and they'll give excellent key performance indicators for something completely different. So they just go off tangent. So I just think be aware of what you're being asked and try specifying your answer and relate it back to the question, so you're not going off on a different tangent.
Yeah, RTBQ, read bloody question, make sure your answer relates to the question. Because the mark schemes are quite prescriptive. You ask something really, really good that's not on the mark scheme. That's great, but you're not going to get any marks. Anyone slightly interesting, financial statement's one of the favourites of mine, and I know Phil's likes it as well. That's dropped slightly from just about 60% to 57%. And there's no sort of reasons why we think maybe the new goodwill calculation came in last September, was it, Phil? We think that might have caused a few issues. But if you look at the Chief Examiner's feedback, Task 4, the IFRS written question again, that's a 15% pass rate. That's probably the lowest one I saw of every single unit for a task. In AAT, the question is 15%.
Yeah, and there's quite a few of them, and it's a big written task again. And because there's quite a lot, and you're only going to be asked about one, people struggle with remembering all the information that they need to do. But every time you're doing a task in financial statements, you're going through an IS, and I, I don't know about anyone else, but we in our materials we have a guided mock, and in our mock we have put all the IISs together in one place. So that is a really good reference material. So you can go through every IIS all in one place, one after the other, and you can see what you understand and what you don't understand. I think having them all together really helps. I know it helped me when I was studying.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's still pretty good. You know, if you've got a pass rate of nearly 60%, it's not better than decision control anyway. Moving on, the optional units. Now, always been the case that if you you wanted an easy exam, you did auditing and credit control. So much so, I had a student that said, I want AAT and unit crags out of my life. What's the easiest way of getting you both out of my life? So I said, you've only got one optional unit to go and do external auditing. She went off and did an AAT sample assessment with not even reading the book. Admittedly, it doesn't take into account written stuff, and she passed the sample assessment. Whereas now actually external auditing has fallen to 60% as a pass rate, which is actually lower than the tax units. So, I mean, Phil will agree with me, the tax units are the best units, but now they've actually got a pretty good pass rate.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like you started with tax at level 4 because it's the best.
Yeah, well,
it's not,
and I didn't get given an option. My options were do tax.
Do tax. I'm not marking auditing mocks. But I mean, so the playing field's a bit more leveled now. So you're not choosing optional units because they're easy, or it's you're choosing optional units because A, it's relevant to your career, or B, you're interested in it. You're not just always basing it on pass rates, which is what AAT want, not just I'm going to do it because it's easy, which is a bit of a wimp's way out. So the last one I'm going to talk about, professional synoptic. It's not a nice exam, is it?
It's awful. No one likes this one. Too many written questions. It's horrendous.
Too many written questions. If you look at the chief examiner's feedback, there's 6 tasks in this exam. It's a very different exam because you've got 100 marks and it's only 6 tasks. But it's 3 hours, whereas budgeting is 160 marks, but only 2.5 hours. So you've got to work harder for your marks because there's more minutes per mark. But it's quite funny when you look at, well, I found it funny. You probably don't. But I thought it was funny. You look at the chief examiner's feedback, there's 2 tasks where the pass rate is up here, task 1 and 5. Guess which 2 tasks are the automatically marked ones? It's 1 and 5. Then you look at the written stuff, which is human mark, and the pass rate just drops, just literally drops. It's light and day. And when you look at the chief exam feedback, there isn't anything that say, right, they don't know this or students don't know that. It's technique that students are struggling with. So it's like not giving enough depth. It's not answering the question. So if you've asked for your weaknesses and a couple of recommendations, if you give some really good weaknesses but no recommendations, you're going to be really held back. There's marks there. And it's not an easy exam. But with practice, lots of mocks as well, you should be fine. Have you got any sort of tips or anything students should be looking at or referring to with synoptic, Phil?
Yeah, again, it's understanding what you're being asked and making sure your answer relates back to the question. So if there's 3 parts of the question, you must answer all 3 parts. If you only answer 2, really well, you don't even attempt the 3rd part, again, you're going to be held back in the marking system. So you just need to answer everything. Even if you don't know, it's better to have a go and get it wrong than to leave it blank, because again, that's going to hold you back in the marking scheme.
Yeah, blank answers give you no marks. Now, the only thing, sort of last thing we want to talk about is the grade you get at the end. Now, I'm a big believer that you shouldn't get hung up over your grade because most employers passed AAT 15 years ago or whatever, where you didn't pass, you were competent or not as yet competent. But now grades have come, and students do like them. And it's slightly interesting that the AAT exams do look to have got a little bit harder. So pass rates might be comparable, but the actual grade you get at the end is falling slightly to what it was before.
Especially at level 4. Level 4, very tough. And nationally only 2% get a distinction, which shows how tough that is.
Yeah. So as a student, it's great. You should be aiming for a distinction at level 4, but you've got to remember on exam day you're looking for competency, not perfection. On exam day you're there to do one thing, and that is to pass the exam. Anything above that is a bonus. You just want to get through it. You don't want to be paying for resits. You don't want to be spending your time, especially Synoptic, where the resit options are limited. It's nice to get a distinction, but you remember, 2% of students at level 4 get distinction. It used to be level 3%, so it is even getting slightly harder. But I wouldn't get hung up about that. But
yeah,
the big thing is
you don't want to take anything away from any student. So at level 4, passing these exams, at any level, passing these exams is tough. So aim for a distinction, and if you can get one, that's fantastic. But even if you qualify with a pass, that's still really good. It's not to take anything away from many students here. Passing these qualifications with a pass rate, that's just really good. You want to be proud of yourself.
Yeah, my personal opinion is if you get 77% in an exam, I wouldn't try resitting it just to bump your average up to get a higher grade. Because remember, all the exams are weighted. So like indirect tax at level 3, for example, it's 10% of your overall grade. So if you get, if you go from 80% to 90%, your overall percentage is only going to go about 1%. Unless that's make or break, I wouldn't get hung up over it at all.
No, and people have set their own targets, so they'll get upset if they don't meet them, which is understandable. But some people might get upset at 70% if they get a 70% in an exam. But that's much better than 69% and a resit and more expense.
Yeah.
So you've got to look at it realistically and just be happy that you pass.
Yeah, I mean, decision control, if you get 7%, you should be well chuffed with that and just think that's variances out of my life forever.
Especially a first-time pass. That's great.
Yeah. Anyway, we won't take any more of your Saturday. Hopefully it stopped raining where you are. It's been chucking it down here. I'm going to go out and I'm going to look forward to another exciting week so we've actually in a nice lull at the moment, aren't we, Phil? There's no one sitting Synoptic for a bit. Synoptic weeks are hard weeks, aren't they? So we're not putting our feet up, but we're just getting a few more jobs done that we normally with Synoptic. It's just mock, and which is what we want. But it's a good time of year.
Yeah, busy at FI Towers.
That's what you want, Ella. Yeah, cool. Right, I'm going to go because variances. Life's too short, really is. I'm going to go before I get sacked for slagging off variances. But anyway, we will do this again at some point. We've got something to say. Anyway, have a good weekend, and I'll speak to you later.
See you later.